10 everyday fruits that are secretly weakening your legs after 60. You know what's funny? All my life, I believed fruits were always healthy. I mean, we've been told since childhood, eat your fruits, they're good for you, right? But what if I told you that some of the fruits you eat every single day might actually be weakening your legs, making them feel heavier, more tired, and even more unstable with every passing year? I'm not talking about junk food here. I'm talking about mangoes, bananas, grapes, and even watermelon, fruits that seem healthy, but after age 60 can quietly work against your body. See, as we grow older, our muscles lose strength, joints become sensitive, and our digestion slows down. And some fruits, which are high in sugar, acid, or natural chemicals, can trigger inflammation, muscle cramps, and even balance problems, especially in the legs. Now, I'm not saying you should stop eating fruits altogether, but if your legs feel stiff in the morning or you're struggling to walk for long periods, the problem might be hiding in your fruit bowl. So stay with me, because in this video, I'm going to reveal 10 common fruits that might be quietly draining your leg strength, and what you should eat instead to stay strong, steady, and energized in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. Let's begin. Now wait, before you run to your fridge and throw away all your fruits, let me clear something up. This video isn't about fear, it's about awareness. Because guess what? Not all fruits are bad. In fact, some can actually boost leg strength, reduce joint pain, and even help you walk longer without getting tired. But here's the twist. It's not just what fruits you eat. It's when you eat them, how much, and in what combinations, especially after age 60, that can make all the difference. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 10 everyday fruits that may be silently weakening your legs. The real reason why your legs might feel tired, shaky, or sore after eating them, and what to eat instead to keep your legs strong, stable, and pain-free. So stay tuned, because the #1 worst fruit for aging legs might be the last one you ever expected. Let's dive in with number 10. Cherries. Now let's talk about cherries. They're often praised for their anti-inflammatory properties, especially when it comes to joint health and muscle recovery. And yes, in moderate amounts, cherries, particularly tart cherries, can be beneficial. But here's the catch. When consumed in excess, they may actually contribute to the very problems you're trying to avoid. Cherries are naturally rich in fructose and purines, and when overconsumed, they can elevate uric acid levels in the blood. This buildup of uric acid doesn't just stay hidden, it can crystallize in the joints, triggering gout flare-ups, leg stiffness, and even sharp pain in the ankles or toes. If you've ever woken up with a burning sensation in your foot or a swollen joint after a fruit-heavy dessert, cherries might be the silent culprit. It's especially tricky because cherries have a healthy label. Smoothies, juices, frozen packs, they all seem like smart choices. But when you're blending 30, 40 cherries into a single drink, your body ends up overloaded with natural sugar and compounds that can worsen joint pain over time. So what's a safer swap? Try blackberries or strawberries. Both are loaded with antioxidants, low in fructose, and much gentler on your joints. They support inflammation control without pushing your uric acid over the edge. Cherries aren't bad, but portion control is key. If you're struggling with ankle pain or recurring stiffness in your legs, it might be time to reconsider just how many cherries are going into your bowl. 9. Dried fruits. Let's shine a light on one of the sneakiest health traps in your kitchen: dried fruits. They seem innocent, even healthy. After all, they're just fruits with the water taken out, right? But here's the real picture. Dried fruits are sugar bombs in disguise. When fruit is dried, the natural sugar becomes highly concentrated, and what once was a handful of grapes suddenly becomes a dense dose of fructose in a few tiny raisins. But it doesn't stop there. Many dried fruits are treated with preservatives like sulfur dioxide to extend shelf life and maintain their bright color. These chemicals can irritate blood vessels and further disrupt circulation, especially in people with existing issues like diabetes, varicose veins, or leg stiffness. So what's the result? That harmless handful of dried mango or apricot could be silently sabotaging your blood flow, leading to tightness, stiffness, or aching in the legs, especially when you sit or stand for long periods. But don't worry, there's a better way to snack smart. Instead of processed dried fruits, reach for fresh fruit like apple, papaya, or orange in moderation. And for that chewy texture and lasting energy, soaked nuts like almonds, walnuts, or raisins can give you the nutrients without the circulation-crushing preservatives or sugar overload. In the end, it's not just about eating healthy, it's about eating smart. The right swaps can ease the pressure in your legs and keep your body feeling light, mobile, and pain-free. 8. Green apples. Now, let's talk about green apples. They're often seen as the healthy choice, crisp, tangy, and less sweet than red apples. But here's the surprising truth. When eaten in excess, especially in juice form, green apples can pack more sugar than you'd expect. And this can silently affect your leg health, particularly your circulation. How? It's all about blood sugar spikes. Even though apples contain natural sugar, consuming them frequently or juicing them removes the fiber that slows down absorption. What's left is a quick burst of fructose that enters your bloodstream and can lead to restricted blood flow, especially in your lower limbs. People with diabetes, prediabetes, or even mild circulation issues might experience numbness, tingling, or cold feet without realizing their apple habit could be playing a role. Now, this doesn't mean you need to cut out apples completely. But moderation matters, especially if you're sipping apple juice daily or snacking on multiple apples thinking it's guilt-free. So what's a gentler option? Pears. They offer natural sweetness, but with a lower glycemic index and a texture that's easier on the gut. Pears are also rich in soluble fiber, which helps regulate blood sugar levels and supports smoother digestion. The key takeaway here is simple. Not all fruits are as harmless as they appear. If your legs feel heavy, cold, or slightly numb after meals, take a look at your fruit choices. Sometimes a simple swap can bring big relief. 7. Orange. Let's talk about oranges. They're often praised as the go-to source of vitamin C, right? But if you're someone who deals with joint pain, stiffness, or inflammation, oranges might not be as innocent as they seem. Why? Because they're packed with citric acid, which can be a serious trigger for joint issues in some people. Here's what happens. When you consume too many acidic fruits, like oranges, your body can respond with inflammation, especially in areas already under stress, like your knees, wrists, or lower back. Some people might experience swelling in their fingers or stiffness in the morning and never make the connection to that daily glass of orange juice. And yes, vitamin C is essential. It boosts immunity, repairs tissues, and supports collagen. But if you're getting it from a fruit that's too acidic, the side effects may cancel out the benefits, especially if you're already dealing with arthritis or uric acid sensitivity. So what's a smarter swap? Kiwi. This small green fruit is rich in vitamin C, but comes with lower acid content, making it gentler on your joints. Plus, it brings in fiber, antioxidants, and even potassium, supporting your body without the painful flare-ups. The bottom line? If you wake up with swollen joints or feel discomfort after a citrus-heavy meal, it might be time to rethink your fruit choices. You don't have to quit fruits, just choose the ones that heal, not hurt. 6. Banana. Let me tell you something surprising. Bananas, which most people think are super healthy, can actually make your legs feel weak if you eat them the wrong way. Sounds strange, right? I used to eat a banana every morning, thinking I was doing my body a favor. But after a few hours, I'd feel tired, heavy, and my legs would feel like they had no energy. At first, I blamed sleep or stress, but eventually, I realized the real reason was that single banana I was eating on an empty stomach. Here's what most people don't realize. Bananas, especially ripe ones, are high in sugar. When you eat one without any protein or fat, it causes a quick spike in blood sugar, followed by a crash. That crash doesn't just make you sleepy, it can also affect your legs. You might feel heaviness, shakiness, or even minor cramping.
It's not just about sugar either. Bananas are rich in potassium, but if your sodium and magnesium levels are low, the imbalance can make your muscles act up. Your legs are sensitive to these changes, and even a mild electrolyte issue can make them feel off. Another thing, the ripeness of the banana matters. The riper it is, the more sugar it has. Those spotty bananas might taste sweeter, but they spike blood sugar even faster. Ayurveda even says bananas are heavy and can slow digestion, especially when eaten at the wrong time or during cooler weather. That internal heaviness can show up as physical tiredness, especially in the legs. But don't get me wrong, bananas aren't the enemy. I still eat them, but I've changed how and when I do it. I never eat bananas alone anymore. I pair them with something like nut butter or yogurt to slow down digestion. I also prefer slightly green bananas, which have more resistant starch and less sugar. Since making this small change, the leg heaviness I used to feel almost disappeared. So if your legs have been feeling weak or tired lately and bananas are a daily part of your diet, it might be worth looking at how and when you're eating them. Sometimes it's not about removing healthy foods, but about using them the right way.
5. Pineapple. Pineapple, sweet, juicy, and tropical. I used to love having it as a refreshing snack after meals, or blending it into smoothies, thinking I was adding something super healthy. But what I didn't realize was that this delicious fruit could be secretly contributing to my leg fatigue and muscle aches. Strange, right? I thought so too, until I started noticing a pattern. Every time I ate pineapple, especially on an empty stomach, my body would feel a bit off. Not instantly, but within an hour or two, I'd get this odd sensation in my legs, kind of like heaviness or a slight tingle. At first, I brushed it off, thinking maybe it was dehydration or too much walking. But when it kept happening after eating pineapple, I had to dig deeper. Turns out, pineapple is highly acidic. That tangy bite we all enjoy, it comes from citric acid and a special enzyme called bromelain. Now, bromelain has health benefits. It's anti-inflammatory and great for digestion. But when consumed in large amounts or without balancing foods, it can irritate the stomach and even disturb your electrolyte balance. And when that balance is off, your muscles, especially in your legs, might start sending you signals through cramps, twitches, or weakness. Another thing I didn't know, pineapple is loaded with natural sugars. If you're sensitive to blood sugar fluctuations like I am, it can cause quick energy highs followed by sudden crashes. And when your energy crashes, your legs often take the hit. That wobbly or heavy leg feeling, that's your body struggling to find balance. And here's something interesting I learned from Ayurveda. Pineapple is considered hot in nature. If your body already has excess heat or inflammation, eating too much pineapple can worsen that internal imbalance. This heat can show up in many ways: fatigue, joint pain, even sore or restless legs at night. But the solution isn't to completely avoid pineapple. Like most things, it's about balance and timing. I still enjoy pineapple occasionally, but I'm more mindful now. I never eat it alone. I always pair it with a cooling or grounding food like cucumber or some soaked chia seeds in water. I also avoid it at night because that's when my body feels more sensitive, and I've noticed it can disturb my sleep if I eat it late. So, if you've been eating pineapple thinking it's doing wonders for you, but your legs are feeling heavy, sore, or restless, try paying attention to the timing, quantity, and what you're pairing it with. Sometimes, even healthy foods can become harmful when our body's signals are ignored. 4. Papaya. Papaya was once my daily go-to. Soft, easy to digest, and packed with enzymes, I believed it was the perfect fruit for my morning routine. I'd eat a bowl every day, especially when I wanted to feel light and clean. But little did I know, this habit might have been quietly contributing to my muscle weakness, especially in my legs. At first, it felt like a coincidence. I'd eat papaya and feel a bit lightheaded an hour later. Then the dull ache in my calves would start. My legs would feel like they'd been carrying heavy weights, even on days when I hadn't walked much. I blamed everything else. Maybe I wasn't sleeping well, maybe it was low iron. But papaya? That felt impossible. It's supposed to be healthy.
But after tracking my diet and symptoms, I noticed the pattern. And when I started reading more, things clicked. Papaya is rich in papain, an enzyme that helps break down proteins and improves digestion. That's great, but when overconsumed, especially on an empty stomach, papain can mess with your gut lining. If your gut isn't absorbing nutrients well, guess what gets affected first? Your muscles, especially the ones that support you all day, like your legs. Also, papaya has a mild diuretic effect. It may not be dramatic, but over time, it can lead to loss of key minerals like potassium and magnesium. These are vital for muscle strength and nerve signals. Without enough of them, your legs can start feeling tired, twitchy, or even cramp up randomly. And here's something I never thought about. Ayurveda classifies ripe papaya as pitta aggravating. That means it can increase internal heat if your body already runs warm. For me, this showed up as inflammation and muscle tightness, especially in the evenings. My legs would feel stiff, and I'd find it hard to relax or fall asleep. What really changed things for me was adjusting how and when I ate papaya. I stopped eating it first thing in the morning and began pairing it with soaked almonds or a pinch of rock salt and black pepper to balance its effects. I also reduced how often I had it. No more daily bowls. Now, don't get me wrong, papaya still has its place. It's great for digestion, skin health, and even immunity. But like everything else, it depends on your body's needs and how much you consume. So, if your legs are feeling weak, heavy, or unusually tired, and papaya is a regular in your diet, maybe take a short break and observe how your body responds. Your body whispers before it screams. And sometimes the quietest fruits make the biggest impact.
3. Mango. I used to think mango was the king of fruits, and in some ways, it still is. Every summer, I couldn't wait to dive into a bowl of juicy, golden mango slices. It felt like a reward after a long, hot day. Sweet, refreshing, and nostalgic, especially if you're from a place where mangoes are celebrated like royalty. But over time, something strange started happening. I'd feel a rush of energy after eating mangoes, followed by a crash. My knees would feel sore, almost like they were inflamed. My legs felt heavy, as if I'd just climbed 3 flights of stairs. At first, I thought maybe I wasn't drinking enough water or I was overexercising, but none of that explained the fatigue I was feeling, especially in my muscles and joints. Then I looked into the sugar content of mangoes, and that was my wake-up call. A single medium mango has over 40 grams of natural sugar, mostly in the form of fructose. While it's natural, that doesn't mean it's harmless, especially in large amounts. Fructose is processed differently by your body than glucose. It gets metabolized in the liver, and excess consumption can spike insulin levels, increase fat storage, and trigger inflammation. And guess where that inflammation often shows up first? In your joints, especially your knees. I started noticing a clear pattern. Whenever I had mangoes for breakfast or as an evening snack, my legs would feel sluggish, my muscles slightly sore, and I'd crave more sugar within a few hours. This sugar roller coaster was affecting my energy, my focus, and even my sleep. And it wasn't just me. When I shared this with a few friends who also had muscle fatigue and knee issues, they started paying attention to their mango intake too. Some even noticed bloating, sluggish digestion, and unexpected weight gain during mango season. So, what did I do? I didn't give up fruit, I just got smarter about it. I swapped mangoes with guava. Guava might not be as flashy, but it's low in sugar, high in fiber, and loaded with vitamin C, almost 4 times more than oranges. It helps reduce inflammation, supports collagen production, great for joints and skin, and keeps your blood sugar stable. And unlike mango, it won't send you on an insulin roller coaster. Now I eat guava with a pinch of rock salt and black pepper. It satisfies the craving for something refreshing and fruity without the sugar spike or fatigue. Mangoes aren't evil, but if you're dealing with knee pain, muscle soreness, or low energy, and mangoes are a frequent guest on your plate, it might be time to reevaluate.
Sometimes the foods we love most are silently holding us back. 2. Grapes. Grapes were always my go-to snack. Easy to eat, bite-sized, refreshing, and honestly, kind of addictive. I'd often keep a bowl on my desk while working or pop a few while watching TV, thinking I was making a healthy choice. After all, they're fruit, right? What harm could a few grapes do? But here's the catch. Grapes are like tiny sugar bombs. Each little grape might seem harmless, but they're packed with fructose, the kind of sugar that doesn't just raise your blood sugar, it hits your liver hard. And because grapes digest quickly, this sugar rush happens almost instantly. I didn't notice it at first, but I started waking up with stiff fingers. My knees ached after just light walking. My big toe felt sore, even though I hadn't bumped it or injured it. I brushed it off until I got a routine blood test, and something stood out. Elevated uric acid levels. That's when I made the connection. Fructose, especially when consumed in large quantities from fast-absorbing fruits like grapes, can raise uric acid in the body. High uric acid is a major contributor to gout, a painful form of arthritis, and is known to trigger joint inflammation, especially in the toes, knees, and ankles. Suddenly, my grape habit didn't feel so innocent anymore. The worst part? I thought I was making a smart choice by choosing grapes over candy. But in terms of sugar content, a cup of grapes can contain over 23 grams of sugar, not far off from a candy bar. And unlike fruits high in fiber, grapes don't slow down digestion much, meaning that sugar goes into your bloodstream quickly. So I made a change. I didn't stop eating fruit, I just became more mindful about which fruits worked for my body. That's when I discovered blueberries. Blueberries are a game changer. They're low in sugar, high in antioxidants, and known for their powerful anti-inflammatory properties. They support brain health, protect your joints, and actually help reduce oxidative stress. Now, when I feel like snacking, I reach for a small handful of blueberries instead of a bowl of grapes. The difference? No more stiffness in the morning, no more random joint pain, and my uric acid levels are back in check. Sometimes it's not about eating less, it's about eating smarter. If you're struggling with joint issues, unexplained toe pain, or even gout-like symptoms, take a look at your fruit intake. Grapes might be sweet, but the impact on your body might not be.
Finally, number 1, watermelon. On a hot day, nothing feels more satisfying than a big, juicy slice of watermelon. It's sweet, refreshing, and has that cooling effect that instantly makes you feel like you're doing something good for your body. For years, I believed it was the perfect summer fruit, full of water, low in calories, and the ideal way to stay hydrated. But I didn't realize that what I thought was hydration was actually draining me more than helping me. The truth hit me when I noticed how sluggish I felt after eating watermelon. I'd eat a few slices, feel great for a few minutes, then suddenly I'd crash. My muscles would feel tired, like I'd just finished a long workout. My body felt a little off, like something was out of balance, but I couldn't pinpoint what. It made no sense at first. Isn't watermelon mostly water? Yes, but it's also mostly sugar water. Over 90% of watermelon is water, but it's also loaded with fast-digesting natural sugars, primarily fructose. When you eat watermelon, your body quickly absorbs the water and the sugar together. There's no fiber to slow things down, so your blood sugar spikes fast, giving you that brief boost of energy. But just as quickly, it drops, and that crash is what leads to muscle tiredness, poor focus, and an electrolyte imbalance. In my case, I was mistaking a sugar crash for dehydration. I dug deeper and realized something else. True hydration isn't just about water. It's about electrolytes, minerals like potassium, sodium, and magnesium that help your muscles function properly. Watermelon gives you fluid, yes, but it doesn't offer enough of those essential minerals. So, if you're eating watermelon thinking it'll hydrate you post-workout or after a sweaty day, you might actually be diluting your body's mineral balance further. That explained why I'd feel bloated, drained, and sometimes even get mild muscle cramps after having watermelon, especially on an empty stomach. So, what did I do? I started swapping it with coconut water or a chilled glass of cucumber water with fresh mint and lemon. These options are not only refreshing, they're loaded with electrolytes and help actually hydrate your body at the cellular level. Coconut water has potassium, magnesium, and a little natural sugar in perfect balance. Cucumber, on the other hand, is high in water content but low in sugar, making it ideal for steady hydration without crashes. The point isn't that watermelon is bad, but if you're eating it frequently, especially in large amounts, and you're dealing with muscle fatigue, low energy, or imbalance in your body, it might be time to rethink what real hydration means. Sometimes the things that feel healthy aren't doing you any real favors. So, what's the takeaway from all this? Just because it's labeled as fruit doesn't always mean it's friendly for your body, especially when you're battling issues like inflammation, muscle fatigue, or joint stiffness. I used to think grapes, watermelon, and mango were the healthiest choices out there. But once I understood how sugar, fructose, and fiber content actually affect my body, everything changed. Here's what I've learned from experience. It's not about quitting fruits. It's about choosing the right fruits for your body. Fruits like blueberries, guava, and coconut water can nourish, heal, and protect you from within. Start listening to your body. That morning stiffness, that toe pain, that drained feeling, it might not be age or stress. It might be what you're eating.